Hey. So we want to grow, right? We want to serve more people, right? Well, we need to hire more people. We need more people like you guys. But we just can't hire anybody because it's well established that if you hire just anybody, we're going to have a mediocre organization with mediocre results and some very underwhelmed customers. And we don't want that, so we just can't hire anyone. So who do we hire? Let's talk about that real quick. Hiring. So, quadrant system. We have two main things we look at here at Bacova Beer. We like to keep it simple, right? On this bottom axis, we have productivity. On this other axis, we have trust, right? So these are the two things we're looking at. So if you look at a quadrant system, everything's going that way: high trust, high productivity; low trust, low productivity that way. Everything's moving up and to the right. So clearly, we want this person, right? We want somebody that's highly trustworthy and highly productive. Clearly, that's who we want on our team. That's who we have on our team now, and we want more of you. Also, very clearly, we do not want these people. Big X. These people are not only not trustworthy, but they can't do their job. Clearly, you don't want that person on your team. But what about the people in between? What about the people who are in this quadrant? Highly productive, but low on trust. Which one would you rather have on your team? A highly productive person or a highly trustworthy person? If you could pick one. Obvious answer. Because these people are toxic team members. These people are only here for themselves and to stab you in the back in a heartbeat and leave here for 50 cents more an hour across the road. We can't have these people on the team. They'll ruin everything we've built here and the cohesion we have. Doesn't matter how productive they are. They can't be here. They're harder to spot. I would take this person any day. High trusting person, lower on productivity, and I'll add another word here: trust/humble. Because if we can trust them and they're humble enough to be coached, then we can move them into the quadrant we need them to be in, which is high trust, high productivity. Because at the end of the day, that's the only way we're going to grow, serve more people, and do what we need to do. Because as they say, business moves at the speed of trust. Exclamation, 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 underline, underline, underline. It's an important thing to think about. Think about it. If I can't trust you, I'm going to micromanage you. I'm going to control you. I'm going to keep my thumb on you because I can't trust you. Can't do it my way? I'm going to make you do it my way. I'm not going to ask you what you think. I'm going to tell you what to do. It's a two-way road. Conversely, if you don't trust me, what are you going to do? You're just going to come here, work the job, do the bare minimum, get away with slacking off, and leave as soon as you can and just collect a paycheck. And you're all the time be looking for another job. That's why they say business moves at the speed of trust. Because it's true. And those are the kind of people we want to work here at Bacova Beer. People who are trustworthy. And trust will trump productivity any and every day. But why? Why do we care about growth? Why do we care about serving more customers? Why do you want to work here? Why do we exist? It all starts here. It starts with why. Why do people love coming here? Why do local people come here and repeatedly tell me, thank you for being here? Why do people from out of town who visit this area often, why do they come in here and say, you know, we haven't checked into the hotel yet, we haven't even gone to our house yet, this is the first place, it's our first stop. Bacova Beer is our first stop every time we come into town. Why? It's because they feel something. And feelings come from a part of your brain that has no language. It's called the limbic brain. It's in the middle. And that's where all of your feelings are contained. It's like if I were to ask you why you love something. Why do you, like me, why do I love my wife? Because she's cool and she's fun to hang around with sometimes. Okay, well there's a lot of cool fun to hang around with girls. Why don't you marry her? I can't tell you. I'm trying to rationalize it with words, but it's a feeling. That's when people say follow your gut or follow your heart. Because it's that thing you feel that you're just like, I know that looks like a better deal, but I'm going to go with this one because my gut says so. That's what that is. And your neural cortex, which controls your rational thoughts, tries to explain it with language. But you can't. I believe here at Bacova Beer, people get a feeling when they walk in the door they can't describe. We've been calling it good vibes, right? Since we opened. I believe why we exist is that we spread good vibes and service to our community. And let me clarify what I mean by community. By community, I'm not just talking about Bath County or Hot Springs in general. I'm talking about people who believe what we believe. The people who walk in the door and feel those good vibes. That's our community, okay? Whether they live in Richmond or DC or in another state or even in another country, if they've been in here and felt good vibes, they're our people. That's who our community is. And that's why when we get our beer outside of the pub and into retail outlets, that's why they'll buy that, because they have been to our pub and they will remember that feeling they got when they visited us. Because here's the thing, man, people don't buy what we do, they buy why we do it. Does that make sense? People don't buy what we do, they buy why we do it. Because we're not special here. What we do is not special. It's nothing new and it's nothing innovative. And you can go to thousands of places across this country and get about the same product at about the same price, at about the same level of service. We don't do anything special here. What we do is not special, but why we do it is special. We spread good vibes and service to our community. But how? How do we do that? And by the way, none of this is my idea originally. If you read a book called Start With Why by Simon Sinek, it's all about this. And if you'd like to borrow it, I can let you borrow it. It's a pretty good read. It goes in a lot greater detail than I am here. 200-some pages, not too bad. And it's interesting. So now that we know why we do what we do, how do we spread good vibes and service to our community? And these good people you've seen before, these are what's known as our core values. This is how we do business. This is how we spread good vibes and service to our community. We'll go through them. One, core value number one, we pursue, and all these have action words to them. They're all actionable. Pursue excellence in the ordinary. Okay? This is how a sandwich looks on a plate. This is how a beer looks when you bring it out to a customer. This is how you smile at them. It's excellence, okay? A lot of places have excellent products these days. It's not just the product, it's the way it's presented. and you guys know that already. I don't know how many Google reviews I've read for us that start with, I wasn't expecting much, but, and then they go bragging on how you guys served them well, and the food was awesome, and the beer was awesome, and the atmosphere was awesome. Okay? That's excellence in the ordinary when someone does that. When someone walks in here from out of town, it's their first time, they're just coming in for one beer and they plan on staying 20 minutes and they stay 3 hours. We've all seen it. That's excellence in the ordinary. Pursue it every day you come to work. 2, make, there's your action word, people's lives better. It's kind of a lofty one, but I tell you what, a smile and a, hey, how you doing today goes a long way these days. We're a very distracted, very disengaged, very disconnected society. Technology has only made it worse. Yeah, you can connect with someone across the country or across the globe, but that's not connection, that's information exchange. Real connection happens when 2 human beings get together and share a common bond and talk. And this place provides that. And this place makes people's lives better. Because one of the 2 things people crave more in their lives more than anything else is connection with another human being. The other thing's purpose in their life. That happens here. Make people's lives better. 3, embrace, there's your action word, change. The world is constantly changing. Things are changing all the time, but we need to first differentiate between things that change and things that never change. These core values never change. Our why never changes. Technology changes, embrace it. Somebody comes in with a new idea of how to make something better. I know we've always done it this way, but here's a new idea I want to try. Embrace it. Try it. Embrace change. 4, when in doubt, simplify. There's the action word, simplify. Make things simpler, don't make things more complex. We do that here in many ways. Simplify the ordering process. Simplify customer friction points. When in doubt, simplify. And by the way, each of you has the authority to make decisions based on these core values. If you're struck with a problem, if you're struck with a quandary, whether it be customer related or employee related or just product related, like the beer's coming out weird, or whatever, or a customer has an issue with something, run through these. What should I do? What decision should I make? Does the decision I'm thinking about, does it pursue excellence in the ordinary? Does it make people's lives better? Is it a change that can be changed, that we should embrace? And does it simplify things? The answer is yes to all of them. Why wouldn't you do it? You have that decision-making authority. Number 5, finally, core value number 5. This is maybe the most actionable one of all, even though it's just one word. Family. I spend more time with you guys than anybody else. My family works here, literally. My wife and both my kids work here. Look at our labels. It's got our family all over them. And we don't need to go very far back to see how we lived out this core value recently. 2 months ago, we lost somebody. Somebody who used to work here. He didn't work here anymore, but he was still one of us. He loved this place. And what did we do? What did we do when he died? We closed. And we got together as a group. And we drove down the mountain and we showed up. Because that's what family does. They show up. These core values is how we do business. It wasn't a hard decision to make. Close. Go down together. Show up. What about the lost revenue? It was a Saturday. It was an easy decision because family is a core value. This is how we do business. This is how we spread good vibes and service to our community. Now, we know why, we know how, and I'm going to diverge a little bit from Simon Sinek and add one more of my own in here, and that's who. Who do we hire? That goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Who do we hire, and who do we want to do business with? Remember what we talked about, trust. All goes back to trust. We want to hire people we can trust. We want to do business with people who we can trust. And then and only then do we focus on the what. We make beer and serve food. But people ain't buying what we do, they're buying why we do it. And it starts with why, and it works out. Why, who, how, who, what. If we can have clarity in our why, and we can be disciplined with how we do it, and we can trust who we do it with, and we can be consistent in what we do, and start there. People, that's where the magic happens. And I'm going to give you one example from history that is well known of somebody and a group of people who started with why, and somebody else at the exact same time of history trying to do the exact same thing started with what? The Wright brothers. Orville and Wilbur, right? Orville and Wilbur Wright, first in flight. Well, did you know there was another guy named Samuel Langley trying to do the exact same thing at the exact same time? Samuel Langley had more resources. He was very well funded. He had a team that was very well educated, and he had a lot of notoriety. He had the New York Times following him around, just waiting for him because they wanted to capture the moment when he first took flight, first man-powered flight. But Samuel started here with what? He wanted to be rich and famous. And rich and famous is not a person. Rich and famous is a result. Money is a result. Fame is a result. The Wright brothers started with why. They were in it to change the world. They were in it to change the way people traveled. And that's all they cared about. And guess what? They had no money. They didn't have any smart people around them. Nobody had more than a high school education, including the Wright brothers themselves. And they had absolutely no notoriety. And they won. They were the first in flight because they had a why. This guy didn't. And you know what? When Langley found out that the Wright brothers beat him, he didn't go down and say, hey guys, congratulations. Now, let's combine forces and we can use all my resources and we can make your thing better. No, you know what he did? He quit. Because he wasn't going to be rich and famous. And the Wright brothers became famous. Look on any North Carolina license plate. What's it say? First in flight. The Wright brothers were from Dayton, Ohio. There's a University of Dayton there. You know what their mascot is? The Flyers. Because they started with why. They beat somebody who had more money, more education, and more notoriety than them. All because they started with why. And we can do the same thing. That's why we want to grow. That's why we want to serve more people, because we want to make more people feel our good vibes and want to come here and tell their friends. And money will be the result, not the reason. And we'll all prosper because of it. Now I'll leave you with this. Just to let you know your job matters. It matters greatly. I know sometimes it just feels like you're making sandwiches and you're pouring beer and you're taking orders, but your job's a lot bigger than that. You're here to spread good vibes and service to our community. Don't forget that when you come to work, because it's important, because you make people's lives better. I really believe that, and I hope you do too. And if you don't believe that, maybe you shouldn't work here. Because we believe that, and we need more people like us who believe the same thing to work here. Because what we do is important.